Hi, welcome to Understanding Kubernetes Horizontal Pod Autoscaler. I'm Bob Resselman, the author of this scenario. The purpose of this scenario is to help you understand the nature and use of the Kubernetes Horizontal Pod Autoscaler, or what we call HPA. Horizontal Pod Autoscaler addresses a basic problem in distributed container-based architecture: scaling the computing environment up or down to meet load demand. When you apply HPA to a Kubernetes deployment or replica set, intelligence in HPA will help keep an eye on the CPU utilization of the pods in force. Also, HPA will look at other metrics if you configure it thus. When a particular pod starts to approach a usage threshold, HPA will create additional pods to alleviate the load burden on the environment. It's a pretty cool technology. In order to get full benefit from this scenario, you need to understand the basics of Kubernetes. You need to understand what a pod is and how a container relates to a pod. You need to understand deployments and services, and also you need to understand some basics about clusters, what a master is and what a node is. Also, you need to understand how the Katacoda interactive learning environment works, and I'm going to demonstrate that next. Okay, there are two things you need to understand about the Katacoda learning environment. The first one is how the commands interact with the terminal pane. And you can see on the left-hand side here, I have a command that has a little arrow over it. In this case, it's the get clone command that we're going to use to bring down the metric server source code to build a metric server within the Kubernetes cluster, which is on the right-hand side in the terminal. So the important thing to understand is that when you click on a command that has a little arrow, as you see on the left-hand side, that command will execute in the pane. So let me do that now. Let me just go and run the get clone command. And you can see that get clone is running. So that's the first thing you need to understand. You need to click these commands when you see them in the documentation. Also, the commands are very aware of what terminals they're going to be running in. So because this is a 2-terminal scenario, and we kick off the second terminal, I think around step 2 or 3. That's the first thing. The second thing you need to understand is you need to do all the steps in order. You can't jump around, and you need to execute the commands in order. And the reason you need to do this is because one step is going to set up the environment for the next step. So for example, you can see here in step 1, I'm creating the metric server. In step 2, I'm going to actually use the metric server when we apply HPA, because HPA needs the metric server. So again, the two things to understand is A, how the commands work. When you see the little checkbox on the, when you see the checkbox or arrow on the left-hand side command, that you need to click it because that will interact in the terminal for you. And the second thing to remember is to do the steps in order and to do each command in the step in order. So there you have it.